Go. Good morning, everybody. You totally rock because you joined me for week 3 of Freedom Friday. And today we're going to cover something very important, and it's very strategic. And again, when it comes to money and building and things financial, we want to be strategic. In week 1, we covered the very first way that we make money when we come into Isagenix, which is called, you'll hear people say PIB, and that stands for Product Introduction Bonuses. And that's the very first dollar that you're going to make. And that's the very first dollar that you're going to help other people make. Because as Eric Worre reminds us, there's something called Moneyball. If you have anybody in the industry, anybody at all in the industry, not just Isagenix, and you can help that person earn between $1 and $50 in their first 6 months, your retention climbs to a ridiculous percentage. So we all want to try to raise our standards and help everyone we can have a very comfortable in the comfort zone referral so that they can achieve that PIB bonus, okay? The next thing we did in week 2 was talk about our rank advancement bonuses. So if you've missed any one of those 2 Freedom Fridays, you can go back to the ISA Dream Team calendar, go back to that date. It'll say Freedom Friday week 1, Freedom Friday week 2. You can access those recordings and you can catch yourself up to speed. As you build and you continue to share those rank advancement bonuses, that $10,500 plus that you have access to, those are available to you. And we walked through how you get those. In addition to grabbing those bonuses, today we wanted to talk about placement strategy. So what might be helpful in a minute or two, I'll have Heidi share her screen and put up, what does getting to executive look like? Whether you get there, Crystal, in the amount of time or whether it took you longer, that kind of doesn't matter. But what we'd like to talk about this week is how do you do the right and the left, right, left, and how do you maximize the benefit of the Isagenix compensation plan by the ability to hold back cycles and then drive them out, okay? And we want to think about, what is my activity doing? It's almost like, it's a crazy analogy, you guys, but it's almost like I'm going to work quietly in the closet over here and not have anyone notice me. And then I'm going to start placing people on the opposite leg, and I'm going to do a ton of activity and drive this volume and kind of come out of the closet in a splash and make a big splash. So all of a sudden Isagenix notices me. And in doing that, you guys, I know it sounds a little kooky, but in doing that, what's going to happen is at director level and executive level, you're going to be able to scoop up lots of extra money in the form of leadership pool bonuses. And so there's a method to our madness. And in the next couple of minutes, Heidi and I are going to explain. The audio is not good, keeps cutting out. Okay, let's see. Anybody else experiencing that? Debbie, you can hear me fine? Rachel, you can hear me fine? Okay. Christine, perhaps maybe you can go to a headset on your device, and perhaps that may help you. And hopefully the recording will be clear, so if you need to listen to it over again, that's fine. Okay, so let's pretend I'm an absolutely brand new person, and I'm just gonna start building my tree. And I have already set, I've talked with my coach, and I'm saying, I'm 10 to the top, I'm running. I want to build this as fast as I can, like my life depended on it, okay? So this is going to be the aggressive coaching. This is not for a person who says, hold my hand, I just want to crawl, I'm not out of my comfort zone. What we're talking about today is a person who's going to come in and is looking for the business strategy, okay, guys? So just kind of, I'm just throwing that out there. You know, we don't want to come at people with a fire hose if they just needed a little Dixie cup, right? So we're just going to kind of just blanket statement. This is for the person who wants to understand how to aggressively build. What we're going to coach them to do straight off the bat, and Heidi, if you can go to map to Crystal Executive and just put up consultant, that would be great.
Sure.
I love this. I love this. Oh my God.
I know.
So we're gonna do our immediate U+2. One on the left, one on the right. And what we usually do is we advise people, I did it with Mark, Heidi did it with Paul, you're usually going to put your significant other on your leg, okay, on the top of one of your legs. And what that is gonna do is give them, obviously, that placement. So for the future, they will have access to 50% of your new business, right? Rolling up the tree, they will have 50% of your BV volume of your whole business for the rest of their life. And you want to put another significant person in the real estate on your opposite side, because again, for the rest of your Isagenix life, you have two choices. You're either going to have people on that right team or people on that left team. So for argument's sake, let's let's say that I am going to enroll on my left team, I'm going to enroll Heidi, and on my right team, I'm going to enroll Steven, okay? So I've got my person on the right, and I've got my person on the left. What we're going to do next is the immediate plan is to help people get to manager. That's going to be our first goal. We want people to get to manager so that they will begin to reap the benefit of our holiday bonus program, and we have some solid foundation under them. So Crystal Manager is going to be our very first goal. Heidi's going to find her two friends or her two accountability partners, and Steven's going to find his two accountability partners right away. The minute we are solid Crystal Manager, what we can do then is kind of engage on some of these now, the rules that Heidi so nicely typed out here for us. Let's say in this example, sorry, Steven, but I'm sharing the leg with Heidi and Lisa, and Lisa is my enrolling sponsor, and Lisa is in a square above me. What I'm going to decide to do is first and foremost, as I'm talking and I'm enrolling the next few people, I want to work my way from manager to director. Manager, I have 2 consultants. Now I'm going to work my way up to director and build 4 consultants additional. So instead of how you see it here on the screen, what we're going to do is we're going to put, we've got Heidi in the number 1 spot, we've got Steven in the number 2 spot. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put April in the number 3 spot. We're going to put Rachel in the number 5 spot. And instead of filling in number 4 and 6, what we're going to do to build 6 consultants is we're actually going to build 2 more underneath the 5 spot, in the 7 spot and in the 9 spot. So if you continue to go down, Heidi, we can show people. Instead of doing right, left, right, left, right, left, what we're going to do is we're going to do the managers are in the number 1 and 2 spot to get us to manager. And then we're going to enroll people on the shared leg. The 3 spot, the 5 spot, the 7 spot, and the 9 spot. And we're going to concentrate on helping the personally enrolled find their U+2. So we're going to be very lopsided. We're very, very, very lopsided. The left team is big and strong and growing. And most of you that know that if you're on a Freedom Friday call, you know by now when you log into your back office and you do Team View My Team, the first section says your personal information. The second section is your BV summary, okay? When you start to actively do this, what we're suggesting, putting people only on the left side in the 3 spot, 5 spot, 7 spot, 9 spot, cultivate those people, help them find the U+2. What you're gonna notice is that the volume in the BV is rolling up and only filling the left bank. And you're looking and it's all these little zeros on the right side, like what's going on? And it's gonna keep calculating. You need this much to cycle. You need this much to cycle. But the whole idea is to not cycle, you guys. Now, of course, we kind of left Steven stranded over here on the right side, and he has his 2 buddies from his band underneath him. They keep ordering their 100 BV. They keep eating the products. Maybe one of the buddies has enrolled a sister. Maybe some of that has experiencing just a little bit of growth. So I may wind up having 300 and having 1 cycle. or having 2 cycles. Is this making sense, guys? Because we need Stephen and his customers to be adding a little bit of business volume into the tree so that that would create a cycle for me. And we want those cycles to remain low, because as we're building and helping person number 5 and person number 7 and person number 9, we may even do a person number 11, could you imagine? Strengthening that left sales team. And all this volume is going to just sit there very nicely at Isagenix, kind of waiting. And what you've done is you've created all of these 600s. So now we're in massive activity. We're doing massive reach out. We're asking people to join Real People, Real Results. We're doing Wellness Wednesdays. We're having coffee meetings. We are massive outreach, you guys. This plan will not work unless you are in massive outreach, because here's the second piece of the puzzle. And you cannot take your foot off the pedal. Even though you might be tired, even though you might be getting a sore throat, even though you think, I can't have one more conversation, you can't stop. Because you guys, the magic is gonna happen the minute that I have Heidi and this nice team is running along like a well-oiled machine. Now I'm gonna flop over to the right side and say, okay, Stephen, let's go. You're coming down to Florida. We're gonna do a Super Saturday. We've got all kinds of people we wanna get to. I'm gonna help build my tree. We're gonna help build your tree. We're gonna get the 4 person, the 6 person, the person number 8, the person number 10, the person number 12. We're gonna get enrolled. We're gonna fire up that right side, you guys. What does that do when that starts to happen? What that does is pushes out all of these new, fresh 300s. So all of a sudden, you see, you were like, Lisa always says, you were like the swan on the river, right? On the top of the water. But underneath, you were pedaling, working with person number 3, person number 5, person number 7, person number 9, but no one's noticing because we're not cycling. We're on purpose holding back the cycles. When we flop over and I start to help Stephen in my number 2 spot, and I start to help him build a team, and I'm working with some new people, person number 4, person number 6, person number 8, person number 10. I'm driving up to that 10 to the top. What that's gonna do is all of a sudden push my cycles. They're gonna jump 3, 4, 5, 8, 10. You see what I'm doing, you guys, is I'm pushing volume to accelerate that momentum, working really hard on the right side team. By doing that, if you don't understand what the leadership pools are, and we're gonna spend a whole nother Freedom Friday on that, but right now we'll just scratch the surface a little bit. When you're at director with 6 consultants, we have these pools of money. Literally, I'm looking at my pool. There is a pool of money. Just imagine, would you like Isagenix to hand you a tablespoon? Would you like Isagenix to hand you a coffee mug? Would you like Isagenix to hand you a bucket? Or would you like Isagenix to hand you a gigantic, my giant garbage can that's out by the street? Giant bucket. And you could go to the pool and you could scoop up the money. The device they're gonna hand you is decided by the momentum in which you drove those cycles up, for lack of a better way to describe it in layman's terms. So if we're on purpose just cycling 1 time or 2 times, and then all of a sudden under the clear blue sky, you come on Isagenix radar and say, who is this girl Danielle? She just cycled 6 times. Next week she cycled 8 times. The following week she cycled 11 times. Where did she come from? That's gonna allow me to go to the pool with the giant bucket to scoop up a leadership pool bonus. Now, I remember getting my very first one. It was $4,500. It was really nice to get $4,500 in addition to all the other money that I made that month. April recently got $1,000 in the director pool. And so the money that we saw Lisa, Heidi, Stephen, and I, we saw Lisa get an $86,000. Imagine the size of her bucket that she went to the pool to scoop up, because she built this side, flipped over, built the other side, and those cycles and the way we calculate the leadership bonuses really added up to her having that big momentum drive and growth from her business, building the layers underneath and your 4 PET. So without getting too broad and too complicated, Heidi, where can you kind of fill in the blanks of what I missed, or Stephen, jump in?
Well, Danielle, you did such a good job. And, basically what we have to remember, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I have a sore throat. I got so cocky. I was like, I'm not going to get sick. I haven't been sick since being on Isagenix. And anyway, I'm like, really? Sore throat? Seriously? I've got people to talk to in Great Britain. But anyway, you did such a good job. And, basically, guys, if you can think about it like this, Isagenix does not flush volume. So the leadership pools, when you get to director and executive, you get to participate in these pools. And the amount of money that you get is based on there's a benchmark set from the past 13 weeks. And I'm planting some seeds here. You don't have to know all this. Just know that, there's a benchmark set of an average of the cycles you've cycled the past 13 weeks. And they take that as a benchmark and compare it to the number of cycles you cycle the next 13 weeks, or the next leadership pool period. And the pools are paid out by how much growth you have in your organization compared to that benchmark. And I know I didn't understand the leadership pools when I first came in at all. And I didn't need to understand them. All you really need to understand is trust us on this. And I remember, this is how far I didn't understand. I remember my regional sales manager calling me and saying, congratulations, you maxed out the 1-star leadership pool. You earned $5,000. And I remember thinking, I said to her, I go, number one, what's the 1-star leadership pool? And number two, what's 1-star mean? And number two, what are leadership pools? I didn't even know. Okay, but I kind of organically did this. I was lucky. Because, here's another thing, and I think we should open it up for questions because this is important. I had some people that I wanted to keep together because they were friends, because they were family. And because of that, I sort of organically, when I first started my business, had this team leg that I started. And then I went over to the other leg, to develop 5 consultants there. And I was lucky. It happened to work out for me, and I got that $5,000 1-star leadership pool. Yeah. So anyway,
we've got a great question here from Mary, and she says that she has a longtime user that's been banking lots of volume, always have 100 BV, and so they kind of have a stash. And obviously, it's worth something. So do we encourage them to build on a shared leg, or automatically start their first 6 to get paid? So Marianne, this is kind of an interesting, question. If you've been in and you have a little bit of a more mature business, we're all going to have this situation with different people. And you can get some other advice, because by no means am I, the end-all be-all, know-it-all. What I would say is it's so specific to that person. So you would speak to them and say, what is your interest level? This volume, what Mark and I have done here is I have a little pad, and I have a rolling count. So for example, I have a lady that I can't even get in touch with her. She has 336 people under her. She's collected 171,000 BV. And if I divide that by 600, multiply that by 54, I can tell her that BV sitting at Isagenix is worth $15,100. So technically, Marianne, what we're saying is you could potentially have a $15,000 running head start if you really got in massive activity and wanted to do 10 to the top. And so the person has purposefully decided to build. Great. What I would do is I would still, you see, here we're going to get a little spiritual. So now you're going to see how kind of really kooky I am. My thought is exactly how I started this. She's got to build to manager. And then since she's waited all of these months, or she's waited potentially all of these years, she can build on the team leg and wait a little bit longer and replenish before she takes. Then I would tell her to flip over, just like we did in this example, and I would tell her to flip over and build her what we call inside. Because in my opinion, you shouldn't be a taker. You shouldn't just come in and build where no one built and let, Marianne, you built 2/3 of her business. So let her partner with you to build it even stronger, and then flop over and take out what she can by building on the small side. The people that come in and just think like, okay, I'll build on the small side, in my opinion, it's very stingy. I love that word, stingy. That's a great word, one of the best words Lisa ever taught me. And I think it's small-minded. You have to think about, wow, I'm coming into this. They put all their sweat equity. Let me partner and help a little bit, build even stronger. They've kept my money for now. What's the difference if they keep it another month or 2 or 3 or 4? Then my payday will come, and will come even bigger because I helped create it. Does that make sense to you guys? Any other thoughts around that? You don't want the bad karma. You don't want the bad juju, Marianne.
And it really depends on, Emily Britt on my team, who's an executive. You've got to recognize that if, don't step over $100 bill to grab a penny. You want to get it. And, I really interview people and ask them, what do you want? Are you in this for the long run? Are you in this to hang your hat? Are you planning on becoming executive so that you can take advantage of every aspect and maximize this compensation plan? Or are you in it just to make a few bucks, to make some money to buy some shoes? You really have to help them determine where they're going and what their goals are with this company. Because if they're in it to win it, they need to, my opinion is they should build the shared leg first. They should build that big leg first. Because I have people now who were, as Danielle and Lisa said, stingy, and they're at the very top of my tree, and they've decided, yeah, I do want to max out this comp plan. Yeah, I do want to become executive. And they waited so long, they could have gotten people into that shared leg when there was tons of momentum. And now, I'm not working that leg. I'm not working that leg anymore. Some of the other leaders aren't working that leg. We're working our other leg. So they miss the momentum, and they're putting people on the shared leg where there's not a whole lot of momentum going on. So it's very stingy and small-minded, not to, if you're in this to win it, if you're in this to hang your hat, yeah, I love the contribution part that Danielle said. Contribute to that shared leg, the leg that you share with your sponsor. Go over to the other leg once you've developed 5, and it doesn't have to be you've developed 5 consultants on the shared leg, but get some momentum going on there before you switch to the other leg. Those cycles are sitting there as if they're a 401k plan. They're sitting there ready, and they're not going to go anywhere. You're still going to get them. You just have to wait a little bit. And the leadership money that you can benefit from when you come in and build to director and executive will far outweigh the
54,
right.
54. Yeah.
Exactly.
So one other thing I want to mention, guys, is I have some people on the chat, well, I may have placed my husband in the wrong spot or whatever. Don't get too crazy about that. It truly, truly doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it's anything we're doing in network marketing is you and what you attract. Period. End of story. It is what you and who you will attract and what you will create that momentum. So I didn't make a decision because I knew I was building with Heidi or I knew I was building with Steven. I didn't make my decision based on any of that. I made my decision because I knew I had Lisa's leadership, and all of you on this have incredible leadership. We've all got each other's back. So if you are going to learn the skills and make it the daily habits that is going to be successful in this business, you're all doing personal growth, you're all plugging in, you're all doing the right things, you will attract the people, and then stat the people into spot 3, spot 5, spot 7, spot number 9. You'll start to run together. And if you haven't attracted them yet, there's a million gazillion calls all the other days of the week that can help you figure out what do you need to do to start attracting great people that want to be in that momentum flow with you. So don't get too crazy about, I think I placed this person wrong, or what would I do here or there. It's not important, guys. What's important is today's a new day. Who are we bringing in? What conversations are we having? And who is open to learning like an incredible strategy to build their financial freedom and build a wall around their family in the years to come. And Heidi, one thing I'll mention, and Steven and I were talking about this yesterday, is that even though we're focusing where we're focusing, we've all put a few people for future growth in UK on our shared leg. So when we have this new, future, we're planning for the future. We have future growth that we know, we don't want to say we can bank on it, but if we put enough people there, somebody's willing to have a great testimonial, lose some weight, and enroll some people, right? So we're going to see that later momentum happening, which is really wonderful because we can concentrate where we are and then flip back over in time when we need to. And that's just what's so beautiful about having the binary unlimited. I mean, it couldn't be more generous.
I just want to add, there's a visual in the back office for when you get into these pools. That's what helped me to learn about them, because you see your own benchmark that Heidi was referring to. And the other piece to it is the company understands people might have a heavy volume leg, some people may not. So there's all of these bonuses that the company put in place for the people that work. So what happened in my organization is I've had people come into my 4PT. We almost had the same income month because of these pools. And the other benefit to keep feeding the volume leg is that we do get a match as executives based on the cycles of helping people grow their business. So there's constantly a win-win-win, like all across the board in this compensation plan. It's just so generous. I think there's 17 ways to get paid in this. I just heard so many different numbers, but there's a lot of ways to get paid.
Absolutely.
So as long as you're committed, your business will thrive. It's a matter of the consistency, the action, learning this. The learning curve is different for everyone. And, let's talk about building to events. Get the teams and your people to see the vision for themselves.
And one of the visuals I'll give you, April, come sit next to me 1 second. One of the visuals I'll give you guys, just so you can kind of really see this loud and clear. I wish we had a picture of Shemaine. Do we have a picture of Shemaine? We don't have a picture of Shemaine. So the visual of what Steven is talking about is my leadership pool bonus in my 4 PET is a direct reflection of this. The cycles I can create, April's direct to me, so her cycles will be added to that. Imagine Shemaine's little faces over here. We want Shemaine to cycle because as April's an executive, she's going to get a 10% matching bonus on Shemaine's cycles. I get a 10% matching bonus on April's cycles. What's going to happen? Shemaine, Rachel, right here. So Rachel, right, is the next level down. So I want to commit to helping Rachel cycle a lot because Rachel's cycles, as they're growing, increases my benchmark because she's part of my 4 PET. I want to commit to Shemaine because Shemaine is helping increase my benchmark. And I'm investing in her business because also I want my BFF to have an amazing 10% matching bonus. Do I want her to cycle 10 times a week or 100 times a week? Duh, I need her cycling 100 times a week because I'm entitled to 10% of that. And what does that do? It increases my benchmark for my leadership pool bonuses. So we're not only investing in who you bring in, but you're investing investing your time, your love, your energy 4 levels down. And I duplicate that, and Shemaine is teaching Rachel, and Rachel's teaching her hubby, and her hubby is teaching our friend Cindy. Rachel's duplicating this 4 levels down. It has given Isagenix the ability to have retention that's wonderful, and have a business model where we really are paying it all forward because you're investing in other people's success, both physically and financially. Does that make sense, you guys? So I know we always talk about numbers, money, but when you see, it's just like the family and the lives changing, and the family and the lives changing, and then down to Rachel and what she's doing in Texas, it's like the reality of the situation. And now you see, why does Lisa deserve to make 7 figures a year? Over over $100,000 a month every 30 days. Why does she deserve that? Because she has been able to create leaders, Stephen, Heidi, myself, Dee, Joy, people that have now duplicated this system, and you see the ripple effect of financially how it has been affecting all of the families down to whatever we're at, 60, 70, 80,000 people. I don't even know the numbers now, Stephen, do you?
Lisa's organization? I don't know. 60, yeah, it's almost 60,
I think it's got to be 60, 70,000 by now, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Do you guys get that?
I wouldn't it's a lot of details to the back end of this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get caught up in the back end of the pools. Just, I think the big takeaway is creating the momentum on the leg. If you can, especially for people that are enrollers. If you're an enroller, it's the only way to build. And
Right.
the evidence is there. Tanya and Richard on my team had a $5,500 bonus month. They were the top 5 at the ICU in Phoenix because they built that way. They patiently did it, and they trusted the process of it. They built out, created a heavy volume, went back and maxed out the pools. So it's a really great strategy. It almost seems counterintuitive, but it's a smart way to do it.
And Stephen, thank you. I love to, wrap up a call with a lot of clarity and simplicity. And you're so right. I mean, there's a couple things that you want to take away from this. Number one, creating momentum on one leg. I still do it today. Today, it's like, okay, I enroll somebody who is really interested in the business, and I focus there and help them create momentum. One of the most amazing takeaways I had from Tuesday night was when Jessica, yeah. When Jannie Elo told Jessica, get obsessed with getting your people paid. Get obsessed with getting your people paid. And here's the thing. 1, create momentum on one leg. 2, get to executive. Because once you get to executive, the entire compensation plan opens up. And there's so many things that you may not, as a brand new person, even know about. And when I got that $5,000, I got that call, and I got that $5,000 max out. Think about how many, there's no way, I was in the business for less than 2 months. There's no way I could have cycled enough to earn anywhere near $5,000. So the leadership pools are so generous. And even though 10%, like when you first start this, you don't see the importance of getting to executive. You don't see the importance of that 10% match. Think of what Lynn Hagedorn earns on Lisa DeMayo's business.
Oh, wow.
Think about that, guys. If Lisa's earning $100,000 a month, Lynn's earning $10,000 a month on just Lisa's business. So get to executive.
Got it? Awesome. We'll see you next week for Freedom Friday.
Thank you for doing this.
Thanks, you guys.
Have fun.
Thanks.
Enjoy this.
Thanks, you guys.